Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is your host, Christopher Michael Curtis Bowen, on this evening edition of Fire of Liberty. Very unique and very, of course, continuance and acceleration and positive understanding of the building, preserving, and generating Renaissance, and also the manifestation of this grand, excellent golden age. And very key subject I'm going to go straight into is the following. And this is very key, of course, for enlightenment and also just for awareness, and also very key to know and to be aware of the supreme cause and the sustaining force of everything, both material and spiritual. Lord Krishna, this is Gita chapter 7. Knowledge of the Absolute. Lord Krishna is the supreme truth, the supreme cause, and the sustaining force of everything, both material and spiritual. Advance soul, surrender unto Him in devotion. And so advance soul, surrender unto Him in devotion, whereas impious souls divert their minds to other objects of worship. Verse 1, and I'm just going to read all the way through. O hear, son of Ptha or Arjuna, how by practicing yoga in full consciousness of me, with mind attached to me, you can know me in full, free from doubt. I shall now declare unto you in full this knowledge, both phenomenal and nominal, by knowing which there shall remain nothing further to be known. Out of many thousands among men, one may endeavor for perfection, and of those who have achieved perfection, hardly one knows me in truth. Earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego, altogether these 8 comprise my separated material energies. Besides this inferior nature, O mighty armed Arjuna, there is a superior energy of mine, which are all living entities, who are struggling with material nature and are sustaining the universe. Of all that is material and all that is spiritual in this world, know for certain that I am both its origin and dissolution. O conqueror of wealth, Arjuna, close parentheses, there is no truth superior to me. Everything rests upon me, as pearls are strung on a thread. O son of Kunti, I am the taste of water, the light of the sun and the moon, the syllable Om in the Vedic mantras. I am the sound in ether and ability in man. I am the original fragrance of the earth, and I am the heat and fire. I am the life of all that lives, and I am the penances of all ascetics. O son of Ptha, know that I am the original seed of all existences, the intelligence of the intelligent, and the prowess of all powerful men. I am the strength of the strong, devoid of passion and desire. I am sex life which is not contrary to religious principles, O Lord of the Bharatas. All states of being, be they of goodness, passion, or ignorance, are manifested by my energy. I am, in one sense, everything, but I am independent. I am not under the modes of this material nature. Deluded by the 3 modes, goodness, passion, and ignorance, the whole world does not know me, who am above the modes and inexhaustible. This divine energy of mine, consisting of the 3 modes of material nature, is difficult to overcome, but those who have surrendered unto me can easily cross beyond it. Those miscreants who are grossly foolish, lowest among mankind, whose knowledge is stolen by illusion, and who partake of the atheistic nature of demons, do not surrender unto me. O best among the Bharatas, 4 kinds of pious men render devotional service unto me: the distressed, the desirer of wealth, the inquisitive, and he who is searching for knowledge of the Absolute. Of these, the wise one, who is in full knowledge and union with me through pure devotional service is the best. For I am very dear to him, and he is dear to me. All these devotees are undoubtedly magnanimous souls, but he who is situated in knowledge of me I consider verily to dwell in me. Being engaged in my transcendental service, he attains me. After many births and deaths, he who is actually in knowledge surrenders unto me, knowing me to be the cause of all causes and all that is. Such a great soul is very rare. Those whose minds are distorted by material desires surrender unto demigods who follow the particular rules and regulations of worship according to their own natures. I am in everyone's heart as the supersoul. As soon as one desires to worship the demigods, I make his faith steady so that he can devote himself to some particular deity. Endowed with such a faith, he seeks favors of a particular demigod and obtains his desires. But in actuality, these benefits are bestowed by me alone. Men of small intelligence worship the demigods, and their fruits are limited and temporary. Those who worship the demigods go to the planets of the demigods, but my devotees ultimately reach my supreme planet. Unintelligent men who know me not think that I have assumed this form and personality. Due to their small knowledge, they do not know my higher nature, which is changeless and supreme. I am never manifest to the foolish and unintelligent. For them I am covered by my eternal creative potency, Yoga Maya. And so the deluded world knows me not, who am unborn and infallible. O Arjuna, as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, I know everything that has happened in the past, all that is happening in the present, and all things that are yet to come. I also know all living entities, but me no one knows. O scion of Bharata, O conqueror of the foe, all living entities are born into delusion, overcome by the dualities of desire and hate. Persons who have acted piously in previous lives and in this life, whose sinful actions are completely eradicated and who are freed from the duality of delusion, engage themselves in my service with determination. Intelligent persons who are endeavoring for liberation from old age and death take refuge in me in devotional service. They are actually Brahmin because they entirely know everything about transcendental and fruitive activities. Those who know me as the Supreme Lord, as the governing principle of the material manifestation, who know me as the one underlying all the demigods, and as the one sustaining all sacrifices, can, with steadfast mind, understand and know me even at the time of death. The yoga of the Supreme Person. The ultimate purpose of Vedic knowledge is to detach one's self from the entanglement of the material world and to understand Lord Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One who understands Krishna's supreme identity surrenders unto him and engages in his devotional service. The blessed Lord said, "There is a banyan tree which has its roots upward and its branches down, and whose leaves are the Vedic hymns. One who knows this tree is the knower of the Vedas. The branches of this tree extend downward and upward, nourished by the three modes of material nature. The twigs are the objects of the senses. This tree also has roots going down, and these are bound to the fruitive actions of human society. The real form of this tree cannot be perceived in this world. No one can understand where it ends, where it begins, or where its foundation is. But with determination one must cut down this tree with the weapon of detachment. So doing, one must seek that place from which, having once gone, one never returns, and there surrender to that Supreme Personality of Godhead, from whom everything has begun and whom everything is abiding since time immemorial. One who is free from illusion, false prestige, and false association, whom understands the eternal, who is done with material lust and is freed from the duality of happiness and distress, and who knows how to surrender unto the Supreme Person, attains to that eternal kingdom. That abode of mine is not illumined by the sun or moon, nor by electricity. One who reaches it never returns to this material world. The living entities in this conditioned world are my eternal, fragmented parts. Due to conditioned life, they are struggling very hard with the six senses, which include the mind. The living entity in the material world carries his different conceptions of life from one body to another, as the air carries aromas. The living entity, thus taking another gross body, obtains a certain type of ear, tongue, nose, and sense of touch, which are grouped about the mind. He thus enjoys a particular set of sense objects. The foolish cannot understand how a living entity can quit his body, nor can they understand what sort of body he enjoyed under the spell of the modes of nature. But one whose eyes are trained in knowledge can see all this. The endeavoring transcendentalness, who is situated in self-realization, can see all this clearly. But those who are not situated in self-realization cannot see what is taking place, though they may try to. The splendor of the sun, which dissipates the darkness of this whole world, comes from me, and the splendor of the moon and the splendor of fire are also from me. I enter into each planet, and my energy, they stay in orbit. I become the moon, and thereby supply the juice of life to all vegetables. I am the fire of digestion in every living body. I am the air of life, outgoing and incoming, by which I digest the 4 kinds of foodstuff. I am seated in everyone's heart, and from me come remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. By all the Vedas I to be known. Indeed, I am the compiler of Vedanta, and I am the knower of the Vedas. There are 2 classes of beings, the fallible and the infallible. In the material world, every entity is fallible. In the spiritual world, every entity is infallible. Besides these 2, there is the greatest living personality, the Lord himself, who has entered into these worlds and is maintaining them. Because I am transcendental beyond both the fallible and the infallible, and because I am the greatest, I am celebrated both in the world and in the Vedas as that Supreme Person. Whoever knows me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead without doubting is to be understood as the knower of everything, and he therefore engages himself in full devotional service O son of Bharata. This is the most confidential part of the Vedic scriptures, O sinless one, and it is disclosed now by me. Whoever understands this will become wise, and his endeavors will know perfection. Yoga of devotion. Bhakti yoga. Dear Lord, who is better versed in yoga, the ones who worship you in constant devotion with your form, or the ones who worship you as the formless? Or Arjuna said, Dear Lord, who is better versed in yoga, the ones who worship you in constant devotion with your form, or the ones who worship you as the formless? Sri Bhagavan said, those who fix their minds on me and worship me with form, ever with supreme face, I consider them as perfect in yoga. Yoga meaning union with God. But those who worship me as the formless, as the unchanging, the imperishable, and the omnipresent one, those who have restrained their senses, who are even-minded everywhere, who are engaged in the welfare of all the beings, verily they also come to me. But for human beings it is more difficult to realize the formless God than the one with form. But those who worship me, renouncing all actions in me, regarding me as the supreme goal, meditating on me with single-minded devotion, for them those thought is so set on me, O Partha, I will become very soon the one to deliver them from this cycle of birth and death. Fix your mind on me alone. Let your thoughts dwell in me. By doing so, you will live in me hereafter. Of this there is no doubt. But if you are not able to fix your mind steadily on me, O Dhananajaya, then seek to reach me by Abhyasa yoga, through constant practice. If you are unable to do constant practice, be intent on doing all actions for my sake. Even by performing actions for my sake, you will attain perfection. If you are unable to do even this, surrender thyself to me in love, not worrying about the fruits of actions, with the self subdued. Better indeed is knowledge than formal practice. Better than knowledge is meditation. Better than meditation is the renunciation of the fruit of the action. Surrender and love. Close parentheses. Peace immediately follows this. He who hates no being, who is friendly and compassionate to all, who is free from the feeling of I and mind, even-minded in pain and pleasure and forbearing, ever content, steady in meditation, self-controlled, and possessed of firm conviction, with mind and intellect fixed on me, such a devotee is dear to me. He by whom the world is not afflicted, and whom the world cannot afflict, he who is free from joy, anger, fear, and anxiety, he is dear to me. He by whom the world is not afflicted, and whom the world cannot afflict, he who is free from joy, anger, fear, and anxiety, he is dear to me. He who has no wants, who is pure and prompt, unconcerned, untroubled, and who is selfless in all his undertakings, he who is thus devoted to me is dear to me. He who neither rejoices nor hates nor grieves nor desires, renouncing good and evil, treating both as the same, full of devotion, he is dear to me. He who is the same to foe and friend, and also in honor and dishonor, who is the same in cold and heat, in pleasure and pain, who is free from attachment, to whom blame and praise are equal, who is silent, content with anything, free of selfish attachment, steady-minded and full of devotion, such a one is dear to me. Those who follow this immortal Dharma, described above with devotion and faith, looking upon me as the supreme goal, they are exceedingly dear to me.